Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Please throw away all the unnecessary thoughts. You will need lots of focus because we are dealing here with Fyodor Dostoevsky in the original. Fyodor Dostoevsky, Маленький герой. We're going to have fun, so please prepare to have fun, to be surprised in a nice way, and to get your aesthetic satisfaction. You're going to get it, and you will check yourself in half an hour after, more or less, after ending of this lesson. You will see your mental and emotional state. It will probably be higher than it is now. It's going to be fun. So please open the link below this video, or much better, open your printed materials of this story, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Маленький герой. I'm going to show you first of all where we stopped the last time, where we're going to start from, and then I'm going to remind you what has happened in the story so far. So today it's not the mission impossible, because today it's the beginning of the paragraph. It's a paragraph beginning. So you have to find the paragraph starting with часов 10. Часов 10 приехал муж, да-да-да-да-да. So you can click Control F and you can search it by the word приехал. I've just tried it. That's the first time that the word приехал is used in the story. So it will bring you right here. Now, meanwhile, while you're looking for that, I'm just going to remind you the plot of the story. So there is this huge party nearby Moscow. And there are two ladies there, a blonde lady and her friend called Madame M. And there is an 11-year-old boy. Now, the blonde lady behaved in a kind of a crazy way towards that little boy. She embarrassed him in many ways. But the boy fell in love with Madame M. She doesn't know about that. Maybe she guesses that, but maybe she suspects. But of course, he didn't say anything. He's very shy, timid, you know. But he fell in love with Madame M, this 11-year-old boy. And this 11-year-old boy is the narrator of the story. So that's what you need to know to understand today's lesson. And so basically, when he's saying "ya" here, he's talking about himself. So now we're going to start with часов 10 from here. And we are going to end with the word самолюбие. Самолюбие. Говорили, что муж ее ревнив, как араб, не из любви, а из самолюбия. So just look at the screen. So that's our passage today. I'm going to read it to you for the first time. And then we are going to go over the vocabulary. And after that, I'm going to read it to you for the second time. And you're going to see a big difference. So listen. Just a second. Okay. Часов в 10 приехал муж мадам М. До сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально, не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. Теперь же, при неожиданном входе мужа, я видел, как она вся вздрогнула, и лицо ее, и без того уже бледное, сделалось вдруг белее платка. Это было так приметно, что и другие заметили. Я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, из которого кое-как догадался, что бедной мадам М не совсем хорошо. Говорили, что муж ее ревнив, как араб. Не из любви, а из самолюбия. So guys, if you didn't get much, that's also fine. Because right now you're going to get it. So, часов в 10 приехал муж мадам М. Now look, if it were в 10 часов, if the word часов would stand here after 10, we would infer from that it was the exact time, at 10 o'clock. But when you have часов at the beginning, it conveys the idea that it was about that time. So, therefore, часов в 10 would mean around 10 o'clock. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure whether it's 10 o'clock in the morning or in the evening, but that's fine. So, часов 10 приехал. I would say in the evening, but I'm not sure. Часов 10 приехал муж. Приехал means arrived. Муж, husband. Madame M. So, therefore, часов 10 приехал муж Madame M. Around 10 o'clock, the husband of Madame M arrived. До сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально, не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. Please underline до сих пор. It means up to now. Наблюдал, observed. But that should be наблюдал за. Because it's like observed after her. But in English we would say observed her. So наблюдал за ней would be in English observed her. Очень пристально. Пристально means close, closely. You remember, I think I explained it to you that when you have o at the end of the word in Russian, usually that's an adverb. So it shows how or in what way. Yeah? So пристально means closely. So he says like that, the following. До сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально. So до сих пор means up to now or so far. I observed her very closely. Не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. Не отрывая глаз от would be not taking my eyes from. So not taking my eyes from her sad face. So therefore, до сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально, не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. So far, I was observing her very closely, not taking my eyes. He's saying not taking eyes, but meaning my eyes from her sad face. Теперь же, при неожиданном входе мужа, я видел, как она вся вздрогнула. So, теперь же means but now. So, же kind of brings your attention to the moment. Теперь же, but now, при неожиданном входе мужа. So, first of неожиданный means unexpected. And при means during or while or at the time of. So, при, basically you can underline and write above that at the time of. And входе, вход means entrance. So when he says, Dostoevsky, теперь же, при неожиданном входе мужа, that would be, but now, with the, or at the time of the unexpected entrance of the husband, я видел, I saw, как она вся вздрогнула. Она вся means all of her. So вся here basically just stresses the kind of dramatism, you know, dramatic expression. So она вся, so I saw, как она вся вздрогнула. Вздрогнула means shook, the past of shake. So как она вся вздрогнула, how all of her shook. But вздрогнула means just one time. Probably there is a word in English, so for shaking just for one time, but I cannot think right now, so I will just translate that as shook, but that's just one time, like that, look, like that, and that's it. So when all of her shook, и лицо ее, и без того уже бледное, so and her face, и без того уже бледное, и без того уже, please underline this whole expression, and it means which even before was. But if we do it like word by word, literally, it would mean and without that already. And without that already. You will see now how it works here. Бледная means pale. So now look how it works together. И лицо ее, и без того уже бледная, and her face, even without that, already pale, or like more, like better English, which was pale even before that. Сделалась вдруг белее платка. So сделалась means became. Вдруг means suddenly. Белее, whiter than, comes from белый, белее, whiter than. Платка comes from платок, a handkerchief. So, therefore, и лицо ее и без того уже бледное сделалось вдруг белее платка. And her face, which was even without that already pale, became suddenly whiter than a handkerchief. Now, look how this whole sentence works together. До сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально, не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. Теперь же, при неожиданном входе мужа, я видел, как она вздрогнула, и лицо ее, и без того уже бледное, сделалось вдруг белее платка. Up to now, I followed her, or I observed her, very closely, without taking my eyes from her sad face. But now, with or at the time of the sudden entrance of the husband, I saw how all of her shook, and her face, even without that already pale, became suddenly whiter than a handkerchief. You see? It's lots of fun to comprehend Russian like that in the original, correct? So, это было так приметно, что и другие заметили. Я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, из которого кое-кто догадался, что бедной мадам М не совсем хорошо. So, let's divide this sentence into several parts. Это было так приметно, что и другие заметили. So, приметно means noticeable. And заметили means noticed. So, приметно, заметили. You can spot the same root here. So, приметно, noticeable. Заметили, noticed. So, это было так приметно, so it was so noticeable, что и другие заметили, that also others noticed. So, и here means also, другие means others, that also others noticed. Я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор. Расслышал means could hear. В стороне means on the side. Отрывочный means something that gets cut every now and then. Because отрывок means part. So отрывочный means that he could hear a part, and then he couldn't hear the continuation. And then he could hear some part again. So that would be отрывочный разговор. So I would just translate that as partial. And разговор means conversation. So when he says, я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, I could hear on the side a partial conversation, из которого кое-как догадался, из которого means from which it relates to the conversation, to разговор, from which, кое-как means somehow, догадался, figured out. He's talking about himself, so I will be translating that as I figured out. So я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, из которого кое-как догадался. I could hear on the side a partial conversation, from which somehow I figured out, что бедной мадам М не совсем хорошо. That poor Madame M is not, не совсем means not very. Like, so не совсем хорошо means doesn't feel well. So that poor Madame M isn't really well. So не совсем basically means completely. So не совсем хорошо isn't completely well. Yeah. So and the Russian structure would be that too poor, because бедной Madame M, бедной means to the poor Madame M isn't very well. So that would be the Russian structure. So now listen how it all works together. Это было так приметно, что и другие заметили. Я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, из которого кое-как догадался, что бедной мадам М не совсем хорошо. It was so noticeable that that also the others noticed. I could hear on the side a partial conversation from which somehow figured out that to the poor Madame M isn't very well. I know it wasn't proper English, but you got it. Говорили, что муж ее ревнив как араб, не из любви, а из самолюбия. So говорили, they said, or they rumored, they said, что муж ее ревнив. Ревнив means jealous. And Arab, basically Arab meant, it's an obsolete word, it meant a black person. A black person. So, but the connotation here is just a very jealous person coming from a faraway land. Kind of a hot land with a hot personality. So I will just translate as a black person, but now you know the connotation of that. Не из любви, not out of love, but is самолюбие. Is means out of, in this case, and самолюбие means self-love. So Dostoevsky says, говорили, что муж ее ревнив как араб, не из любви, а из самолюбия. So just notice that it's not Arab, like an Arabic person, but Arab. Arab, it's an obsolete word for an African person, for a black person. So they said that her husband was jealous as an African, not out of love, but out of self-love. Yeah, самолюбие. Okay, good, guys. So we got, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit in a hurry because I'm starting my lesson soon, my private lesson with the student, but I'm just going to read it to you now. Часов в 10 приехал муж мадам М. До сих пор я наблюдал за ней очень пристально, не отрывая глаз от ее грустного лица. Теперь же, при неожиданном входе мужа, я видел, как она вся вздрогнула, и лицо ее, и без того уже бледное, сделалось вдруг белее платка. Это было так приметно, что и другие заметили. Я расслышал в стороне отрывочный разговор, из которого кое-как догадался, что бедной мадам М не совсем хорошо. Говорили, что муж ее ревнив, как араб. Не из любви, а из самолюбия. By the way, I looked it up on the internet, and ревнив как араб would probably refer to the Shakespeare's piece of literature called Othello, where we had this African person who was really jealous. So just a little note. Okay, guys, so I will put the link, specific link to my second reading below this video so that you can listen to it repetitively. If you want me to help you, right now I don't have a Russian lesson with a student, I have some other lesson, but if you want me to help you with your Russian, do not hesitate to contact me. We'll have our first lesson for free, and then I'm going to give you lots of advice regarding how you can advance in Russian regardless of your level, and that's free. Later on, if you want to take private lessons, that's going to be, you will have to pay for that, but the first lesson is for free and with no obligation on your part. So thank you very much, guys, and we'll see each other at the next lesson. Ciao, ciao.